Turn the car around. I will not walk into that village in these shoes. Kwame Mensah stared through the tinted window at the red earth road. Beyond the puddles, women had hung bright cloth between mango trees. Drummers were waiting beside a small school, and his mother stood under the sun in her best blue dress. His driver looked at him in the mirror. "Sir, they have been waiting since morning." "Then they should have repaired the road before inviting me." Kwame did not know that the school children were holding an old notebook that would reveal who had truly paid for his education. At 43, Kwame was one of Accra's most successful property lawyers. He spoke at conferences, appeared in business magazines, and lived in a glass apartment overlooking the city. Whenever reporters asked where he came from, he said, "Near Kumasi." He never named Asuboa, the village where his mother still sold smoked fish and tomatoes at the weekly market. That Saturday, Asuboa Primary School was celebrating its 50th anniversary. Kwame had agreed to attend only because a local newspaper wanted to photograph him donating computers. His mother, Adwoa, had asked for something simpler. "Come early," she told him. "Sit with the elders. Let the children see that a person can leave and still remember the path home." But heavy rain had damaged the final stretch of road. Kwame's expensive car stopped 200 meters from the school. Villagers crossed the mud on foot, lifting their clothes and laughing when their sandals slipped. Kwame saw 3 reporters near the gate and imagined photographs of his wet trousers spreading online. He told the driver to leave. Before the car could move, a girl in a green and cream school uniform ran toward them. She carried an umbrella too small for the rain. "Mr. Mensah, please wait. Your mother said you must hear the first lesson." Kwame lowered the window only a few centimeters. "Tell the head teacher I will send the computers on Monday." The girl held up a brown exercise book protected inside a plastic bag. "This lesson is about your school fees." Kwame opened the door. He walked to the school with his polished shoes sinking into the red mud. He did not do it for the waiting elders or for his mother. He did it because he feared what the notebook might contain. The celebration was held beneath a canopy in the courtyard. Children sat in neat rows. Parents stood along the walls. At the front, an empty chair beside Adwoa had been reserved for him. Kwame sat without greeting the women in the first row. Some were market traders with silver in their hair. One had sold him roasted plantain when he was a boy. Another had mended his school uniform. He remembered their faces, but not their names. Head teacher Mrs. Boateng welcomed the village and asked the girl, Abena, to read from the notebook. The first page was dated 29 years earlier. "Contribution for Kwame Mensah's secondary school admission," Abena read. Adwoa, 12 cedis, Auntie Esi, 5, Madam Akua, 3, Amaserwa, 6, Yadufi, 2. The list continued. Kwame turned toward his mother. "What is this?" Adwoa kept her eyes on the child. When Kwame was 14, he had earned a place at a respected secondary school. His father had died the previous year. Adwoa sold nearly everything she could spare, but admission, uniform, books and transport still cost more than she possessed. Kwame had always believed an uncle in Kumasi paid the balance. That was the story his mother told him because she did not want him to begin school carrying the weight of a village's sacrifice. The uncle had contributed, but it was not enough. The market women formed a susu collection. Each week, one member received the pooled savings. When Adwoa's turn came, several women surrendered part of their own shares. A carpenter repaired Kwame's trunk without charging. A seamstress made his uniform at cost. The head teacher advanced money for books. No single person paid his tuition. The village did. Abena read a second page. It recorded the year Kwame almost left school after Adwoa became ill. The same names appeared again, joined by new ones. Some contributions were small enough to sound meaningless to the lawyer he had become. Together, they kept him in class. "Why are children reading my private history?" Kwame asked quietly. "Mrs. Boateng answered, "Because you were invited to speak about self-made success. Your mother asked us to teach the truth before you taught the children." A murmur moved under the canopy. Kwame felt anger first. He had studied late, won scholarships, and worked through university. Nobody had taken his examinations for him. Nobody had built his career. Then Auntie Isi, now 78, lifted her hand. "Your hard work was yours, son, but the first door had many hands on it." That sentence silenced him. Before Kwame could answer, Mrs. Boateng closed the notebook. "There is another reason we asked you to sit down," she said. She handed him a white envelope bearing the name of Meridian Growth Holdings. Kwame recognized the company before he touched it. Meridian was his firm's largest property client. For 18 months, he had helped structure a logistics development outside Kumasi. Warehouses, a fuel station, a private access road and space for hundreds of trucks. The project files called the site Parcel 47. The envelope called it Asuboa Primary School, the market ground and 32 family farms. Kwame read the notice twice. Meridian claimed that a local representative had consented to a long lease. Surveyors would arrive on Monday to mark the boundaries. The 6 computers beside the stage had been donated through Meridian's community relations budget. Mrs. Boateng's voice remained calm. "Did you know your gift came from the company asking us to leave?" Kwame looked toward the reporters. His business partner, Daniel Agyeman, had arranged the donation and suggested the anniversary as the perfect place to announce it. Daniel had said nothing about the school being inside the acquisition zone. "The project map I reviewed did not show a school," Kwame said. An elderly farmer named Kwaku Frimpong stood at the side of the canopy. "The map did not show my cocoa trees either, but the surveyors painted numbers on them." Kwame felt the old instinct of a lawyer under pressure. Ask who issued the notice. Question the document. Avoid admitting anything before checking the file. "I cannot discuss a client's matter in public." Auntie Isi tapped the notebook with one bent finger. "Then discuss your own matter. Did your hands help prepare this?" "I worked on a transaction near this district. I did not know it included the school." "Not knowing the name of your village made that easy," Adwoa said. Her words landed harder than the accusation. Kwame had replaced Asuboa with parcel numbers because parcel numbers asked nothing of his memory. Daniel called before the ceremony ended. "Do not say another word," he warned. "The local authorization is valid. We have invested too much to let a sentimental crowd frighten you." Kwame walked behind the classroom so the children would not hear. Why was the school removed from the due diligence map? It was classified as a temporary community structure. The land liaison said it could be relocated. It has been here for 50 years. And on Monday you can explain that Meridian will build a better one beside the highway. This is development, Kwame. Do not become a villager the moment cameras appear. Kwame glanced at his shoes, red mud pressed into every seam. "Send me the complete land file. Come back to Accra. We will talk privately." The line went dead. Kwame returned beneath the canopy. He did not make a heroic announcement. He told the village that his firm had worked on the transaction, that he had not reviewed the ground conditions personally, and that they should obtain a lawyer with no connection to him or Meridian. "Will the surveyors come on Monday?" Mrs. Boateng asked. "According to this notice, yes. Can you stop them?" "I cannot promise that. I may have a conflict of interest, but I can preserve the files and notify my firm that the map appears incomplete." The answer disappointed everyone. It also happened to be true. Adwoa took him to the old family house after the ceremony. The courtyard smelled of rain, charcoal and smoked fish. Kwame had not slept there since university. His childhood room now stored baskets and market scales. From beneath her bed, Adwoa pulled a metal trunk. Inside were receipts, school reports, letters, and a folded survey sketch drawn long before Meridian existed. "Your father kept every paper," she said. Kwame's father, Kojo Mensah, had served as secretary to a farmers' cooperative. Kwame remembered him as a quiet man who died too early. The documents showed another life. Kojo had helped families record farm boundaries after a dispute in the 1980s. He had also witnessed an agreement reserving the school and market for community use. Why was this never registered properly? Kwame asked. People tried. Offices asked for fees, new forms and journeys to Kumasi. Then your father became sick. A sketch and witness signatures may not defeat a registered lease. I did not ask you to promise victory. I asked you to look. Among the papers was a letter addressed to Kwame at boarding school. Kojo had written it during his final illness, but never sent it. Your mind is quick, the letter began. Do not let quickness become a way of passing people before you see them. Kwame stopped reading. Adwoa placed food on the table, banku, okra stew and smoked fish. He said he was not hungry. She covered the bowl without argument. That night, he opened the transaction files on his laptop. The version he had reviewed in Accra contained a clean map with broad, empty blocks. An earlier attachment, buried beneath dozens of emails, showed buildings, footpaths and farms. A junior associate named Efua had asked why the school was missing from the final plan. Daniel replied that the local consultant had verified relocation. Kwame had been copied on the email. He had never opened the attachment. He remembered the week, 2 flights, a television interview, and negotiations for another luxury development. At the time, ignoring one attachment felt like delegation. In Asuboa, it looked like 32 farms and a classroom rendered invisible. He called Efua. Do you still have the field report? There was a pause. Mr. Mensah, Daniel told me the matter was closed. I am asking whether the report exists. Yes, I kept my working copy. Do not alter or delete anything. Tomorrow we will issue a preservation notice. Are we representing Meridian or investigating ourselves? Kwame looked at his father's folded letter. Both questions now require independent lawyers. At dawn, he walked through the village with Mrs. Boateng and Kwaku. The school had 3 classroom blocks, 1 built from old brick and 2 from cement. The roof leaked over primary 5. The water tank had cracked. None of that made the place empty. Children swept the yard before lessons. Market women used the veranda for literacy classes at night. Farmers held cooperative meetings beneath the neem tree. During the last flood, the classroom sheltered 4 families. Meridian's proposed replacement sat on low land beside the highway, nearly 5 kilometers away. Younger children would have to cross truck traffic. The drawing showed 6 bright classrooms, but no market, farms, or community meeting space. They said new means better, Mrs. Boateng said. They did not ask better for whom. At the market ground, traders showed Kwame numbered paint on their stalls. Auntie Acey's table stood where she had sold cassava, peppers and soap for 46 years. How much compensation were you offered? He asked. A man wrote a number on paper. It would not rent a stall in town for 1 year. Did anyone explain the valuation? They explained that educated people had already agreed. Kwame recognized the phrase. His education had become a weapon in a conversation where the people affected were treated as incapable of understanding. He returned to the school and found Abina writing names from the old notebook onto a clean sheet. Why are you copying them? The pages are becoming weak, she said. Mrs. Boateng says we must preserve the record. Do you know what the contributions mean? It means Auntie Essie gave money when she did not have much. It also means I worked hard. Abena nodded. Both can be true. The child repeated without knowing it the lesson he had resisted all morning. On Monday, Meridian's survey team arrived with 2 vehicles and private security. The village had retained an independent lawyer, Ama Niarko, through a legal aid organization. She instructed everyone not to block the road or threaten workers. She also presented notice that the land boundaries and authorization were disputed. Kwame stood away from both sides. Daniel stepped out of the second vehicle in a crisp white shirt. "You stayed here all weekend?" he asked. "We need to suspend field activity until the discrepancies are reviewed. We need to honor our client's instructions. Our client relied on a report that omitted occupied land." Daniel lowered his voice. "Do you know what happens if this financing collapses? 40 employees, 2 years of work. Your name is on the opinion letter." Kwame knew. The legal opinion stated that due diligence disclosed no material occupation inconsistent with the lease. He had signed it based on reports prepared by consultants and reviewed by his team. "Then my name belongs in the review too." Daniel stared at him as if he had confessed weakness. The surveyors did not enter that day. Meridian sought a court order. Ama filed a challenge on behalf of the school committee, traders and farmers. Kwame's firm appointed outside counsel and placed him on administrative leave while it investigated. The story reached national news. One headline called him the lawyer who tried to sell his mother's village. Another called him a whistleblower. Both were too simple. Kwame issued a short statement acknowledging his role and refusing to discuss privileged client information. He did not claim he had discovered the problem. The village had placed the notice in his hands. His apartment in Accra suddenly felt less like success and more like a glass box. Invitations disappeared. A bank postponed a board appointment. Friends advised him to settle quietly. Daniel visited one evening. "Meridian will amend the plan," he said. "The school gets a new building. The market women receive a small increase. In return, the village withdraws the case and you sign a statement that the mapping issue was clerical." Was it clerical? It was complicated. That is not the same thing. Daniel poured himself water. "You came from that place, Kwame. You know poverty. Jobs and roads matter more than preserving every old stall. Jobs and roads do matter. That is why the people living there should see the terms and negotiate them. Villages do not negotiate billion-seedy projects. Professionals do." Kwame thought of the Susu notebook. Women with little formal schooling had managed contributions, repayment dates and emergencies for decades. Their records had kept him in school. Meridian's professionals had somehow failed to record an entire school. He rejected the statement. The firm's investigation found no evidence that Kwame intentionally removed the buildings. It found something less dramatic and more common: rushed review, excessive reliance on a consultant, unanswered questions from junior staff, and a culture that rewarded closing deals faster than examining inconvenient facts. Kwame kept his license, but the firm asked him to resign as managing partner. He agreed. When he returned to Asuboa, he expected Adwoa to comfort him. She was sorting tomatoes at the market. "I lost the position I worked 15 years to reach," he said. "Did they take your knowledge?" "No." "Did they take your ability to work?" "No." "Then you lost a chair, not yourself." Kwame almost laughed. "A very expensive chair." "Then learn to stand." Adwoa had no interest in making suffering sound noble. She asked whether he could pay his bills, whether his employees were protected, and whether he had told the truth. When he answered yes, she returned to her tomatoes. The court granted a temporary pause while the authorization was examined. Evidence showed that one local representative had signed after being told the project affected unused land. Minutes from the supposed community consultation listed people who had not attended and one man who had been dead for 3 years. Meridian blamed its consultant. The consultant blamed a field agent. Daniel argued that flaws in consultation did not necessarily invalidate every right in the transaction. Amma refused to let the case become a contest over which powerful office could shift responsibility fastest. She organized public sessions where survey maps were projected on a wall. Farmers marked streams, graves, footpaths, and crops. Traders calculated relocation costs. Teachers mapped where students lived. Engineers assessed alternative sites for the warehouses. Kwame attended only when invited. He translated legal language, but did not speak for the village. When someone asked whether they should reject all development, he answered, "That decision is not mine. My duty is to explain the options and the consequences clearly." Some residents wanted Meridian gone, others wanted jobs. Young adults complained that preserving every farm would leave them migrating to Accra. Market women feared promises that would vanish after construction. The village was not one innocent voice waiting for Kwame to rescue it. It was a community with competing needs. A proposed compromise moved the logistics center to higher, less cultivated land 2 kilometers away. The company would use an existing regional road instead of routing trucks beside the school. Farmers who chose to lease land would receive independent valuations and legal advice. Those who refused would retain access. A smaller skills center would be managed by a board, including local representatives, not Meridian alone. The alternative cost more. Meridian threatened to withdraw. Then the rainy season exposed a fact the original report had missed. Part of Parcel 47 flooded deeply. Building there would require expensive drainage and could push water toward nearby homes. The supposedly slower community mapping had identified a financial and safety risk that the rushed professional process ignored. Investors demanded a new assessment. Meridian returned to negotiation. Daniel accused Kwame of sharing confidential information about the flood risk. The accusation was investigated and disproved. Villagers had provided rainfall photographs and engineers had confirmed the terrain. Kwame realized how quickly a person accustomed to authority could assume knowledge only counted when it came from an office. During negotiations, Auntie Essie became ill. Kwame visited her at the district hospital. She looked smaller beneath the white sheet, but her voice remained sharp. "Have you come to repay my 5 cedis?" she asked. With interest. "Then you still understand nothing." She explained that the women had not purchased a share of his future income. They had acted because a child had an opportunity and the community could help. If gratitude becomes debt, people with kind hearts become owners, she said. "We did not own you." "Then what do I owe?" "Remember the door. Hold it when you can. Do not stand in it so everyone must praise you." Kwame carried that sentence into the final mediation. He offered to donate his unpaid fees from the Meridian matter to the village legal fund. Emma accepted only after the committee approved and the payment was disclosed. He was not allowed to condition it on any settlement. Meridian eventually signed a revised agreement. It acknowledged that the first consultation was deficient, funded independent monitoring and moved the truck route. The school and market remained. Some farmers entered leases, others did not. Compensation schedules were public to affected parties, with privacy protections for individual amounts. Signing the agreement created a new conflict. The village had to choose representatives for the monitoring board. 2 political groups each claimed the right to appoint everyone. A businessman named Ofori promised jobs if residents selected his list. He also accused Amma of prolonging the dispute to collect legal fees. Amma published the funding arrangement and asked the legal aid organization to audit her work. Then she proposed elections with separate seats for farmers, traders, teachers, youth, and traditional leadership. Kwame was offered the chair. He refused. "I can advise when the board requests it. The person who signed the flawed opinion should not control the remedy." Ofori laughed. "So the famous lawyer is afraid of responsibility." Authority and responsibility are not the same thing. The market women selected Madame Akua. Farmers elected Kwaku. The school chose Mrs. Boateng. Young residents elected a mechanic named Yor, who had initially supported Meridian's first plan because he wanted work. His election angered opponents of the project. A board is not useful if every member already agrees, Mrs. Boateng said. Their first task was verifying the compensation list. It contained 4 names nobody recognized and omitted 7 tenant farmers who cultivated land without formal title. Meridian said it could pay only documented interests. Ilmer explained that occupation, crops, and improvements still required investigation even when ownership was disputed. Kwame reviewed the list and recognized a familiar pattern: forms designed around the records easiest for a company to process, not the lives that existed on the ground. The board hired independent valuers. They walked each boundary with residents, photographed crops, and recorded disagreements. Some claims failed. One man tried to include land his cousin farmed. Another inflated the number of cocoa trees. Transparency had to apply to the village as well as the company. When the board rejected a false claim, Ofori accused it of betraying local people. Kwaku answered, "Justice is not changing the lie, depending on who tells it." That sentence became the board's rule. The most painful dispute involved a widow named Mansa. Her late husband's brother held the family documents and claimed all compensation. Mansa had farmed the plot for 16 years and supported 3 children from it. The case exposed inheritance and family questions beyond the board's authority. Amma referred her to specialist counsel and arranged an interim agreement so crops would not be destroyed while the matter proceeded. Kwame wanted to pay Mansa privately. Amma warned him, "You cannot solve every structural problem by becoming a patron. Help fund access to counsel if the program permits it. Do not make her dependent on your personal favor." He contributed anonymously to a general legal support pool. Mansa later secured recognition of her interest through mediation. She thanked the Women's Association, not Kwame. He learned to accept gratitude going to the network that had done the work. Construction planning revealed another omission. The alternative site bordered a stream used by 2 communities downstream. Engineers proposed a containment system, but maintenance costs were unclear. Meridian wanted approval before finalizing the budget. The board refused. Daniel called Kwame and said the village was becoming unreasonable. Every answer produces another question. That is what happens when the first questions were skipped. Environmental specialists tested the water and established a baseline. This meant future pollution could be measured rather than argued from memory. Meridian funded the tests but could not select the laboratory alone. Young people grew impatient. Yor organized a meeting outside the school. "We were promised work," he said. "If every elder delays, the company will leave and we will still have nothing." Madame Akua replied that temporary jobs could not replace farms without fair terms. The argument became heated. Kwame waited for someone to ask him to speak. Nobody did. Abena, still in primary school, stood near the wall, listening. Later, she asked him which side was right. "Both sides are protecting something real," he said. "The difficult work is designing rules that do not pretend one need cancels the other." The board negotiated local recruitment targets without promising jobs to unqualified applicants. Meridian funded certified training before hiring. Yor insisted that women be eligible for equipment and administrative roles, not only food vending. Madame Akua demanded safe market access during construction. The first training class enrolled 40 residents. 26 completed it. Meridian hired 18. The numbers were smaller than political speeches had suggested, so the board published all of them. Ofori distributed leaflets claiming Kwame had blocked hundreds of jobs to protect his mother's tomato stall. A radio host repeated the accusation. Kwame was invited to respond live. He brought Yor and Madame Akua instead. "The agreement belongs to the board," he told the host. "Ask them." Yor explained the training figures. Madame Akua described the farms and market. Their disagreement remained visible, but so did the process used to resolve it. The radio interview received less attention than a shouting match would have. It produced something more valuable. Residents heard actual terms. Afori's influence weakened when journalists discovered his company had sought a subcontract from Meridian. He had not disclosed the interest while attacking the board. The board did not ban him from meetings. It required declarations of financial interests from everyone. Kwame filled out the first form. He listed his former firm, unpaid fees, previous work for Meridian, and land his mother occupied. Seeing the connections on one page made him understand why disclosure mattered, even when a person believed himself honest. At home, his relationship with Adwoa was not repaired by public accountability. She remained angry that he had ignored her invitations for years. "You come now because the village became a case," she said one evening. "I come because I am trying to change. Trying is not the same as knowing me." Kwame realized he could name Meridian's directors, but did not know which. Days his mother's knees hurt most, or why she had stopped singing at church. He began accompanying her to the clinic when she asked. The first time, he spoke over her while describing symptoms. The nurse turned to Adwoa. "Madam, what are you experiencing?" Adwoa answered for herself. Outside, she said, "You defend a village's right to speak and still answer for your own mother." Kwame apologized. At the next visit, he took notes only after asking permission. Her diagnosis was arthritis and high blood pressure, manageable with treatment. Kwame wanted a specialist in Accra. Adwoa chose the district hospital for routine care and agreed to travel only if necessary. They arranged transport and changed the height of her market table to reduce pain. The market women teased him when he tried to carry every basket. "Let your mother decide whether she is old today," Madame Akua said. Some days Adwoa accepted help. Other days she sent him away to his legal office. Their relationship became less dramatic and more truthful. Kwame also contacted former employees from his Accra team. Evua had resigned after the investigation, believing the firm blamed junior lawyers for decisions made above them. He offered her a position in Kumasi. "Will I be expected to save you from missing attachments again?" she asked. "No. I am building a review system where questions are logged and cannot be closed without an answer. And if the question delays your biggest client, then the delay appears in the file with the name of whoever overrides it." Efua accepted a 3-month trial. She negotiated equal authority to flag matters and a written workload limit. The new office adopted checklists, field verification for occupied land, and plain language summaries for affected clients. A checklist could not create integrity, but it could make silence harder to hide. Their first major client was not a village. It was a family-owned company seeking a warehouse site. Field review showed informal mechanics using part of the land. The owner wanted immediate eviction. Kwame explained the legal options and business risks. Efua proposed a negotiated relocation period with moving support. The company complained that such work was beyond the narrow legal brief. "Then hire a firm that promises the narrowest answer," Kwame said. They lost the client. For 2 months, the office struggled to pay expenses. Kwame considered lowering the new standards. Evua placed the old Parcel 47 map on his desk. Systems matter most when following them costs something. They reduced their own pay and sought smaller matters. Gradually, cooperatives and ethical investors came. Profit returned slowly, without reaching his former level. At the school, the computers Kwame had brought remained boxed for weeks. There was unreliable electricity, no secure room, and no teacher trained to maintain them. His original gift had been chosen for photographs, not use. Mrs. Boateng convened the committee. They sold 2 computers with the donor's consent, used part of the money to repair wiring, and installed locks. 4 machines were set up in a shared lab. A teacher received training, and the school scheduled community access in the evenings. "Does selling my gift mean it was a bad gift?" Kwame asked. "It means the school needed a system, not 6 boxes," she replied. The lab worked for 7 months before lightning damaged a component. This time, the maintenance fund paid for repair. Children learned typing, teachers prepared materials, and market traders used the computers to check mobile money records. Abena created a digital copy of the Susu notebook under supervision. She entered every contribution exactly, including 2 entries where the amount was unclear. Instead of guessing, she marked them for review. "Why not make the numbers neat?" a classmate asked. "Because neat is not the same as true," she answered. Kwame heard his lesson return through her voice. The land case itself did not disappear after settlement. A group of residents challenged whether the traditional representative who signed the original lease had authority to do so. Their claim could affect the revised site. Meridian demanded certainty before financing. Amar explained that certainty could not be manufactured. Historical rights, customary interests, and statutory records overlapped. The parties funded a neutral title review. Elders gave testimony, but oral history was checked against maps and records rather than accepted or dismissed automatically. One elder changed his statement after pressure from relatives. Another admitted he did not remember the boundary. The review took 9 months and altered part of the site again. Kwame attended a hearing where a Meridian executive whispered, "No investor will tolerate this much community involvement." "Then the investor should know before spending money," he replied. The final title arrangement was smaller but defensible. Financing resumed. The delay cost money. It also prevented a later dispute likely to cost more. Kojo's survey sketch became one piece of evidence, not a magical document that solved everything. Some lines were accurate. One boundary followed a stream that had shifted. Experts overlaid the sketch with aerial images and testimony. Kwame appreciated that his father's work could be valuable without being perfect. He framed a copy in his office beside the modern community map. Underneath, he placed no award, only the question, who is missing from this page? Every new matter began there. The agreement also established a grievance desk. For the first months, residents feared using it. A worker named Sena finally reported that a supervisor demanded part of employees' wages to keep their names on the schedule. Meridian initially called it a personal dispute. The monitoring board insisted on investigation. Other workers confirmed the scheme. The supervisor was removed, unpaid wages were restored, and anti-retaliation rules were posted in languages workers used. Sena received no public medal. At her request, her identity remained confidential. The case taught the board that a signed development agreement meant little if workers could not report abuse safely. Another complaint came from truck drivers who said village road rules caused delays. Farmers said trucks ignored speed limits near homes. The board reviewed tracking data and adjusted delivery windows. Speed bumps were installed after consultation with emergency services. Compromise did not mean everyone became friends. It meant disputes had somewhere to go other than threats, rumors, or private deals. When the first warehouse opened, Meridian planned a ceremony with a giant check for the school. Mrs. Boateng declined the check display. The company could report its required contributions in the public accounts like everyone else. Kwame attended from the audience. Daniel was not there. Adwoa sat between Madam Akua and Kwaku, wearing the same blue dress from the school anniversary, altered slightly to fit her shoulders. The regional minister praised partnership and called Kwame a son who returned to rescue his people. Kwame requested the microphone only to correct the record. I returned first to donate computers and approve a project I had not examined closely enough, he said. The people of Asuboa protected their own interests. My role was to accept responsibility, share what I knew, and stop assuming expertise gave me ownership of the decision. The statement made the ceremony less comfortable. Adwoa smiled. Later, she handed him a small cloth pouch. Inside were 5 old coins. Auntie Essie kept them as a reminder of her first contribution, she said. Her daughter wanted you to have them. Kwame closed his hand around the coins. I thought she said I could not repay her. These are not a bill, they are a direction. He placed the coins in the school exhibit beside a note approved by Essie's family. Help is not ownership. Gratitude is not obedience. A door held open must remain open for others. The agreement did not transform Asuboa overnight. Construction created jobs, but not as many as advertisements promised. Dust became a problem until the monitoring board enforced watering requirements. 2 contractors delayed wages and were replaced. The skills center opened 6 months late. Development required continued oversight, not one ceremonial signature. Kwame began working from a smaller office in Kumasi. He represented cooperatives, schools, and small businesses in land matters. The income was lower than before. Some clients distrusted him because of the scandal. Others hired him because he now understood how professional certainty could hide incomplete facts. He also faced claims from former clients after leaving the firm. Most were resolved, but one case lasted 2 years. He spent savings on legal fees. Redemption did not erase consequences. Adwoa refused his offer to buy her a house in Accra. My friends, market and church are here, she said. Repair this roof if you want to help. Do not relocate me to decorate your apology. He repaired the roof after she selected the workers and price. He also began visiting without announcing photographers. At first, villagers watched him carefully. A man who arrived once a month could still be performing. Trust returned through ordinary acts, attending a funeral, reviewing a scholarship form, sitting through a long cooperative meeting without taking control. Mrs. Boateng asked him to teach students about contracts. His first lesson began with a mistake. He showed 2 maps, the clean parcel 47 drawing and the community map filled with paths, farms and buildings. Which one looks more professional? He asked. The children chose the clean map. So did I, he said, but neat is not the same as true. Abena raised her hand. Why did you sign if you did not know? Adults in the room shifted uncomfortably. Because I thought the people beneath me had checked, and they thought the consultant had checked, and the consultant trusted someone else. Responsibility does not disappear because it is divided. Did you go to prison? Another child asked. No, a mistake is not automatically a crime. But not being a criminal does not mean I caused no harm. He explained the difference between an allegation, evidence, negligence, fraud, and responsibility in language the children could understand. He did not turn his failure into proof of wisdom. He let them ask whether he should have known better. 3 months after the settlement, Auntie Essie died. At her funeral, Kwame sat with the market women instead of in the special row offered to dignitaries. Adwoa gave him the original Susu notebook for safekeeping. He declined. It belongs to the market group. The women agreed to place it in a locked display at the school, with a high-quality digital copy stored elsewhere. The exhibit explained that Susu was not charity from wealthy donors. It was a system of mutual support managed by people whose small contributions created collective power. The new school fund used the same principle. Former students could contribute, but the local committee set priorities. Accounts were read publicly each term. Large donors received the same line in the ledger as small ones. Name, amount, and date. No classroom carried a donor's portrait. Kwame funded roof repairs and the water tank. When he offered a scholarship bearing his name, Abena reminded him of Auntie Essie's words, "Are you holding the door or standing in it?" He renamed it the Asuboa Continuation Fund and invited other former students to match contributions. Selection was handled by teachers and community representatives using published criteria. The first recipients included a brilliant boy whose family farm had entered a voluntary lease with Meridian and a girl whose mother had opposed the project entirely. The fund did not reward political loyalty. Abena later earned admission to secondary school. Her family could pay part of the cost, but not transport and books. The committee approved support. Kwame wanted to cover everything himself. Adwoa stopped him. "Let the system work. One rich man's mood is not a foundation." Kwame contributed through the fund like everyone else. Years passed. The logistics center operated on the revised site. Some young people found stable jobs. Others left after temporary contracts ended. The monitoring board published annual reports. When runoff damaged a farmer's field, evidence from community mapping supported compensation. Daniel eventually left the old firm. He and Kwame met at a legal conference where a panel praised the Asuboa agreement as innovative. "They make you sound like the architect," Daniel said. "I was one of the reasons it became necessary. You could have protected both of us." "I tried to protect our certainty. That was the problem." Daniel did not apologize. Kwame did not need him to complete the lesson. Adwoa grew slower with age, but continued attending market on lighter days. One afternoon, she asked Kwame to read Kojo's unsent letter aloud. He finished the line about quickness and found another paragraph. "If the village helps you travel far, do not return pretending the road began where people first applauded you." Kwame folded the letter. "Did father know I would become arrogant? Your father knew every clever boy needs a warning." They laughed together. When Asuboa Primary marked its 55th anniversary, Kwame was invited again. This time, the road had drainage but remained red earth. He arrived early in simple sandals and helped arrange chairs. There were cameras because the community wanted to report on the fund. He did not ask them to hide. Mrs. Boateng invited Abena, now a confident secondary school student, to read the ledger. She began with the old contributions and continued into the present. Market traders, farmers, former students abroad, teachers, and local workers. Then she read Kwame's name. His contribution was no longer the largest. He felt relieved. The strength of the fund no longer depended on his success, apology, or presence. It belonged to a network. After the ceremony, a younger lawyer asked him how he had saved his village. Kwame pointed toward Amanyako, Mrs. Boateng, the market committee, farmers, engineers, and students. "I did not save it. I helped end a process my own work had supported. The village negotiated its future." He then showed the lawyer the first page of the Susu notebook. "This is where my part began." He looked at the women again. Madame Akua's fingers were bent with age. Amaserwa used a walking stick. They had not invested because they expected a lawyer to return with computers. At the time, they had no guarantee he would finish his first term. Adwoa finally faced him. "I did not call you home to shame you. I called you because these children hear successful people say they rose alone. Some begin to believe needing help makes them weak. Others believe helping is foolish because no one remembers." Kwame glanced toward the road where his car waited like a black wall between two versions of his life. Beside the stage were 6 boxed computers. He had imagined posing with them, giving a short speech and returning to Accra before sunset. The gift suddenly looked incomplete. Useful, but incomplete. He stood. The reporters raised their cameras. Kwame asked them to lower them for a moment. Then he removed his jacket, placed it over the empty chair, and walked to the front row. One by one, he greeted the women by name as his mother reminded him. When he reached Auntie Isi, He knelt in the mud beside her chair. "I remembered the nights I studied," he said. "I forgot the people who bought the lamp oil." He did not announce a giant donation to purchase forgiveness. Instead, he asked Mrs. Boateng what the school actually needed. She showed him leaking classroom roofs, a broken water tank, and accounts from families struggling with transport. Kwame listened. The village committee selected priorities. An independent account was created, with public records and local oversight. Kwame funded repairs and matched future Susu contributions rather than controlling the money himself. He also made a more difficult promise: to return once a month and teach older students about contracts, land rights, and scholarships. Money could repair a roof. Presence would test whether his apology was real. 3 months later, the road was still red earth. Kwame's car stopped at the same place during another rain. This time, he changed into simple leather sandals before leaving Accra. He carried no photographers and no ceremonial check. Abena met him with the old notebook. Inside its final pages, a new list had begun. Former students in Accra, London, Lagos, and Toronto were contributing to the school fund. Some sent large amounts. Others sent the price of one textbook. At the top of the page, Mrs. Boateng had written a sentence: "No child climbs alone, and no honest helper is too small to matter." Kwame asked his mother why she had kept the truth from him for so long. Adwoa smiled. "I was waiting for you to become successful enough to hear that success was never only yours." Kwame entered the classroom with mud on his sandals. For the first time in years, he told the children exactly where he came from. His return was tested one final time when a foreign investment magazine offered to feature him as the executive who traded wealth for purpose. The profile promised new clients and an international speaking tour. Its editor wanted photographs of Kwame beside Adwoa's market stall and children holding the old notebook. Kwame sent the proposal to Mrs. Boateng, Ama, and the market committee. The school declined to place children in a commercial profile. Adwoa refused to pose. "They did not photograph me when I was borrowing money for your books," she said. "They do not need me now to make your lesson beautiful." The magazine offered to donate to the school. The committee maintained its answer. Kwame agreed to an interview in his office without villagers as scenery. He required the article to mention his signed opinion, the independent legal challenge, and the board's work. The published title was less flattering: "A Lawyer Learns the Cost of an Incomplete Map." It brought fewer invitations than the heroic version might have. It also sent 2 cooperatives to his office because they wanted honest review rather than a savior. One of those cooperatives represented women processing shea nuts in the north. A buyer offered equipment in exchange for exclusive rights to purchase their production for 10 years. The contract used simple language, but hid a pricing formula the women could not independently verify. Old Kwame would have praised the investment and negotiated a better signing bonus. This time, his team modeled several seasons, translated the key terms, and asked what the cooperative wanted. The women chose a shorter agreement, with transparent pricing and ownership of the equipment after repayment. The buyer walked away. For weeks, the cooperative blamed Kwame for losing the opportunity. Then another buyer accepted the revised terms on a smaller scale. The result was not instant prosperity, but the women retained alternatives. Efwa asked whether he regretted giving advice that almost cost the deal. "Our job was not to make signing inevitable," he said. "It was to make the choice visible." That principle became the foundation of the new practice. At Asuboa, Abena's first term at secondary school was difficult. She had been first in her village class but found herself surrounded by students with stronger science preparation. After failing a mathematics test, she called Mrs. Boateng and said she wanted to return home. Kwame heard about it and drove to the school. Halfway there, he remembered Auntie Essie's warning about ownership. He called Adwoa, "Should I speak to Abena? Ask her." Abena agreed to meet. Kwame expected to inspire her with his own success. Instead, he listened. She needed tutoring, money for an extra workbook, and permission to feel overwhelmed without being called ungrateful. "Everyone sacrificed for me," she said. "If I fail, I waste their money." Kwame recognized the burden his mother had tried to hide from him. "Help is a bridge, not a chain," he said. "The fund invested in your chance to learn, not in a guarantee that you will never struggle." The committee arranged tutoring available to several students, not only Abena. Her next marks improved slowly. She did not become first in the region or win a miraculous scholarship. She completed the year with confidence and chose to continue. During vacation, she helped younger pupils use the computer lab. On the wall hung the 2 maps and the question from Kwame's office. She asked each child to draw the route from home to school, marking streams, dangerous crossings, and people who helped along the way. The drawings revealed that children from one area crossed a damaged footbridge. The district had no record of it because the path was informal. The school committee documented the route and secured repairs before the next rainy season. One incomplete map had nearly erased a village. Dozens of children's maps now made a hidden risk visible. Kwame stood beside the repaired bridge with Adwoa. She leaned on his arm because she chose to, not because he grabbed her. "Are you proud of me now?" he asked, half joking. "I was proud when you passed your exams," she said. "I was worried when you thought passing made you better at seeing every life. Today, I am proud that you ask before answering." For Kwame, that was greater than public forgiveness. His mother did not erase the years he stayed away. She recognized the practice of becoming different. After her death many years later, Kwame found no hidden fortune. Adwoa left cooking pots, cloth, market records, family land interests, and a box of letters. Her will divided property clearly and asked that no funeral debt be created to impress visitors. The market women carried her blue cloth to the school. Abena, now studying education, read Adwoa's final message to former students. "Do not praise the village only after you become important. A place is not valuable because a successful child came from it. The child became possible because the place already had value." Kwame sat in the ordinary family row. He did not deliver the longest tribute. He thanked the women who had shared food, money, correction, and truth with his mother. After the funeral, he walked the red road alone. The logistics center was visible in the distance, but trucks no longer passed the school. Children crossed the repaired footbridge. The market sounded as it always had. Bargaining, laughter, metal bowls, and greetings exchanged across stalls. He understood that coming home was not one humble walk through mud. It was a repeated decision to see the names behind the numbers, the people beneath the maps, and the hands that had opened the first door. A person may deserve the fruit of hard work, but gratitude begins when we remember who protected the seed before anyone could see the tree. Subscribe to Duke's Moral Stories, then tell us in the comments who opened your first door and deserves to be remembered.